Hello and welcome back. And I wanted to talk about today the pursuit of happiness. When we first begin our walk and our journey with God, He doesn't lay out all of the struggles that we're going to go through in getting to the happiness in which we are desiring to reach. He doesn't show us how to receive the suffering, the long suffering. When we're first walking with God, when we get the opportunity to see those 9 gifts of the Spirit, and long suffering is one of them, we really don't understand the weight of that long suffering when we first see it. We don't understand that things are going to look a little cray when the Lord tell you He's going to do one thing and the appearance of your life looks opposite. When He's got you going into realms, you're meeting and shaking hands with people in one way, and you're going home to no home. You're going home to not having a roof over your head. You're going to spend time in other people's houses. Some people go and they're sleeping in their cars, living on the street, going to a hotel, so on and so forth, and wondering, I'm pursuing my happiness, but why does my life look like hell because of it? I remember when I first started going to the Church of Restoration in New York, and I was in a real low season, homeless, in a shelter, surrounded by crazy people. All of them were possessed with multiple different tormenting demons. And I was just exhausted. And I remember I would go to the church, and every time I had the opportunity to lay a prayer request on the altar, I would always pray for the 4 areas of my life: my finances, my God ordained relationship, my career, and the things that the Lord was putting my hands to, and my family. Every time. It was the same prayer. I would extend the points of scripture. I would extend into what it was that the Lord was showing me was what He was doing in that season. I would sow whatever I had, whether it was a widow's mite or I had money, but I would always sow. Why? Because I was pursuing my happiness. And the Lord started to unfold certain things in the Spirit to me. For the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed, and I prayed. I prayed, I sowed, I fasted. Sometimes it felt like it was getting worse instead of better. I was being upheaved and shifted from here to there, and here to there, and there to here, and here to there. And I remember times that I was begging the Lord, I can't keep doing this, Lord. I can't keep operating like this, Lord. I can't keep doing this. If you have any mercy for me, that you'll make sure that when I get in tonight, that it will be peace. And He would. And it was a day by day thing. There are a lot of people, a lot of things, the people around me, a lot of things my family never knew. People won't even know my testimony till it all comes out after the thing is complete. Why? Because I was willing to pursue happiness. If you ever seen the movie Pursuit of Happiness, you see this man and he's holding on to what little he has, just seeking to see the manifestation of what it is that he knows works. He loses his wife, he loses his home, He loses everything. But he has the opportunity to be able to get in on this job. And he becomes the best call center agent for this company that they have ever seen, because he was willing to go out and make the sale, because that's what he did, while on the side still trying to sell what it was that was his invention. And he kept going and he kept pursuing. A lot of us, the Lord has given us vision. A lot of us, the Lord has given us dreams. A lot of us, the Lord has given us things that he wants us to put our hands to. And we've built as much as we knew how to build. And we fasted. And we prayed. And we sowed into those things. And we sought out the people that we felt that the Lord was showing us that we needed to connect with. And the Lord also showed us the warfare. And we fought against the warfare. And we did everything that we knew how to do. But even yet and still, it seemed like we still ended up in that place where it still ain't looking like what you told me yet. There still isn't the manifestation of what you showed me it was going to be. And then even when it becomes the manifestation of what you showed that it was going to be, it's not what you envisioned it. It didn't come the way in which you sought it to come. And you lost a lot of things. And in some cases, you lost people too. You lost loved ones. You lost friends. Some of them just turned on you and you could no longer be friends with them. And some of them just passed on. But you had to keep going. You had to keep pursuing. You had to keep standing. You had to keep going. You had to keep. Why? Because the Word of God states, for all the shame, I will reward you double for all of the confusion. And we've seen confusion. We know confusion. Matter of fact, we are so friendly with confusion. To see something that looks like it's peaceful actually makes us step back and say, are you sure this is right? Are you sure this is what you really want? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I'm used to no peace in the midst of my chaos. I'm used to having to be okay, whether a base or a bound. That confusion is normal. But there's a young woman, Tiffany Montgomery, who does ministry, and she says, you know that there are families, that there are such blessings upon their life that they don't know what confusion looks like. No, really? She's like, yeah, there's a level of blessing that comes upon the family line that the enemy cannot touch their family. They are so protected in a thyathan hedge of protection that nothing can touch them. I pray that over my family. I pray for the thyathan hedge of protection over my family. Because they deserve. Because I've been praying for them and praying for them and praying for them and praying for them. To see the breaking of all the strongholds. To see the destruction of all the things. To see it. Because I was willing to stand and pursue happiness. Because I was willing to pray those go big or go home type prayers. Prayers for vacations, prayers for homes, prayers for real estate, prayers for family, prayers for money, prayers for kingdom relations and relationships. To have the audacity to stand for a God-ordained relationship, God-ordained kingdom marriage. The other day, I did the review for the movie The Lake House, and at the end of that movie, it gets me emotional when you see that the God ordained husband shows up. When you see the man finally show up and the two of them in the same place. A lot of us, for those of you that have been waiting on kingdom marriage, some of y'all have been waiting for a year, 2 years. Come hang out over here with the people that have been waiting for about 6 or 7. I know somebody that's been waiting for 10. That moment, when that moment happens, not just the relief of seeing the person, because it's one thing to be relieved to see the manifestation of that person to be standing in front of you. That's one thing. But it's another when that person begins to talk to you and say, I've been waiting for you. It's another thing for when that person starts to explain, the Lord was telling me about you the whole time. It's another thing when when they explain to you that the Lord has been showing them, when you felt like you was crazy this whole time, sometimes because you had no ability to connect or communicate with that person. Why? Because you were over here feeling like you were standing by yourself in this pursuit of the happiness that you were seeking. So yeah, every time I see the end of that film, it makes me get that near cry element, because I know that when that moment happens, because we've been pursuing happiness in our relationships, or the Lord has given you visions, ideas, all of these things that he wants you to pursue and do. Some of those are connected to your God ordained spouse. Some of that is connected to you having the resources, the assistance, and the people. I believe it's 2 Kings 8:18, where it says that there is assistant assigned to the Shunammite woman and her son when they have to go back and retain all of the assets for the years in which they are gone. Stand in for stuff like that. Stand in for the money that people have stolen over the years in your family and family lineage, that money be returned back unto your family. Millions of dollars. For, as according to, what's the Proverbs 6:31, that you shall receive a 7-fold blessing, even from their own house. So if it was hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're going to receive hundreds of millions of dollars. That you had the audacity to pray it, pursue it, and not let it go. But not only that, but to prepare your career and the things in which you have been praying for to come to pass, to be able to receive. That you have prepared vessels for the Lord to bless, for that oil to be poured into. You've poured the oil. Now you're about to see a manifestation as those things get poured into. Yet having that audacity to pursue that happiness and wait when God says wait. When even moments that the Lord has told you sit still, but he got you in a weird place where things and calamities are happening around you, and you're like, but God, if we just breathed on this and we got this thing rolling, I wouldn't have to be in this situation. But God's like, wait, I want to bless you in a different way. And you had to stand another year, another 2 years. You looked up and 4 years had passed you by, and you're sitting there saying, the blessing ain't got here yet, Lord. But you have stood in the pursuit of the happiness in which you desired. You have stood for the manifestation of the happiness of which you desired. You have prayed into it. You have prayed for others. You have had sleepless nights. Laying on your face, laying prostrate on the floor, laying in your bed, just talking to the Lord because you have nothing else left in you but to do that. The pursuit of your happiness. So you know that the day when the manifestation comes is a day of rejoicing and celebration to see it finally happen. But there's still that part of you, because you had to fight for so long, that's on guard. And it should be, because when it manifests and it becomes obvious that it is manifested, that's when the enemy comes his hardest. And that's when you need to cover it the most. A lot of people, they receive a blessing, and the first thing that they want to do is yell at the top of the rooftops. I received this blessing. See, look, I got engaged. See, look, I got this. See, look, my business is thriving. See, look, my family's finally back together. But the way God works is he says, I need you to be quiet. I need you to be silent and wait for the completion of the demonstration of the culmination of this thing. Because when I finish it, will nobody be able to say anything else. Because you were willing to pursue. For again, I say Isaiah 61 and 7 and 8. You are about to be richly rewarded for all you had to go through. And you will receive double for all of the confusion. A lot of us had to stand in the midst of some of the worst confusion that we ever have experienced in our lives. Some of that confusion, we literally looked at it and said, God, this cannot be real. If I were to explain it to somebody, they would not understand. Because this just seems surreal that this is even happening. But God. Because the crazier the warfare, the more insane the blessing. Seriously. But what are you willing to go through in order to pursue your blessing? It's a statement I always say. I always say this. That the, what is it? I want to say it correctly. The things that you are willing to do in order to pursue your blessing are things that others won't, and they will not receive what, I'm saying it backwards. The thing in which you are willing to do in order to receive what others won't, the others won't, because they can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. But the fact that you were willing to pursue it in the first place, the fact that you were willing to go the distance in the pursuit of the thing in which God has promised you, And the fact that you were willing to stand. The fact that when someone prophesied over your life, you were willing to actually sit down, take the prophecy, and not only pray into it, work into it, put your hands to the things in relation to it, to grow that thing, because you were willing to pursue the happiness in which the Lord has shown you through visions, through dreams, through prayers, through all of this, in order to wait until the manifestation of the pursuit. Because at the end of that movie, the character got the job, and he knew from that point forward he was going to be able to get his life together and start over with his son. A lot of us have lost so much in the pursuit of the things of God. But we will be rewarded because we chose not to faint. We will be rewarded because we had the audacity to stand in prayer. We will be rewarded because we warred in the middle of the night over our family lines and lineages. We will be rewarded. And it's tiring. It is. And sometimes the fight don't even start until you hit that elevation. You thought you was fighting before the fight hadn't even really gotten started yet. But in order to protect yourself, your sanity, will come silence. Silence in this season is going to be golden. Silence is going to be the thing that's going to give the breakthrough the room it needs to breathe. Because the silence that you keep it to yourself, close to the chest, close to the breast, in the midst of everything else, it will protect your sanity. It will protect your ability to maintain it, and it will protect it from being devoured by the devourer. Because God can only protect you as much as he, within the parameters of which he gave you. But go outside of those parameters, you begin to rebel. You step outside into the manipulated doors that the enemy manipulated you to open. All of these types of things because you aren't ready. The enemy will eat you alive. It's like I'm in prayer for people right now. To remain in wisdom. For those of you that are waiting for your marriages, waiting for your kingdom spouses, God's going to take you out of places and spaces that you are well seen. Be prepared that you're going to be taken away from your family for a period of time, because you and your spouse are going to need that time, because you got to get to know each other. Be prepared that it's not going to look like the big grand celebration. Are the celebrations coming up? Absolutely. The graduation is coming. The celebration is coming. The strongholds have been broken. Things are going to come together. But it must come with wisdom. You must operate in wisdom. You must. Wisdom is key in this season, because that's what's going to protect you. That's what's going to keep you in alignment. So pray. Pray for yourself. Pray for those. And if you know anybody that is coming into a blessing, pray for their wisdom. as they come into it. Because we are with God and we know the warfare that comes with it. But if you know people that aren't with God, pray for them. Because they're going to need it more than anybody this season. The pursuit of happiness. There's going to be restoration. There's going to be covering. And God will make sure all things come to pass in His due timing. Now is the time. Now is the season. Now is the right time. You're going to see the manifestation of the blessings in which God promised you. You have to be in the right place, in the right space to see it. Operate in wisdom. Keep pursuing your goals. Keep pursuing the things in which God has given you. Make sure that you have strategically prepared the structures to be able to receive it. As we prepare for the supernatural wealth transfer that the Lord is going to open up for us. Make sure you got your accounts in order. And if you don't have the accounts, make sure that you know who and where to go to in order to set up the accounts when it comes, how it comes, what way are you going to do that? How are you going to situate yourself in order to prepare yourself to be positioned so that the resources that you need can be acquired. If somebody comes to you to be your deliverer, if somebody comes to you that's going to be a blessing to you, how are you going to receive it? Knowing where and who to go to, which banks can receive large sums of money. Because not every bank can receive a large sum of money. Some of them have limits that they can only insure, meaning they can only protect you for a specific amount of money. Anything happen, you're only getting that amount of money. But what if you have this amount of money? Where are you putting the money? How are you putting the money? How are you protecting the money? And if that money has been put that way, are you sure that where you have put it is the place that it needs to be? That it's secure in that? Meaning, if you put it in a money mutual or a savings plan, if something happens to the bank, if something happens to the... Are you going to lose all your money? Think long term. Because I was scouting out that kind of stuff. When you know that the Lord is preparing you for wealth, you scout these things out in order to help protect your investments when they come. I was listening to the prophetess this morning, and she was talking about the Lord loves to see you researching and preparing for what He's saying that He's promising you. Prepare so that when it happens, you can receive it. Get the right mindset so that you know what to do. And don't open your mouth to everybody about it. Get your house in order, because things will change and shift quickly. Be prepared for the shift and move accordingly. So that's my spiel. That's my word for today. We have fought, we have pursued the happiness that we have desired, and now be prepared to reap the blessing, because you deserved it. You earned this. And we weren't sitting here trying to earn our blessings. God was going to give them to us. But the fact that we stood during some of the craziest things, that when it manifests, It's that moment that was worth it all alone. So, this is Taj McCameron for Love, Faith, Peace, and Blessings Ministries. Until next time, bye-bye.